Dan Lyons, Disrupted, My Misadventure in the Startup Bubble. Embark on a captivating journey as you delve into Disrupted, My Misadventure in the Startup Bubble by Dan Lyons. This book exposes the shocking realities of ageism in the tech world and the fascinating truth about startup businesses like HubSpot. As you explore the unsettling practices at HubSpot and learn how experience is undervalued in the tech industry, you'll gain an insight into the tumultuous journey of an older professional navigating his career amidst technological transformation. Discover how the likes of Google and Twitter have altered the expectations and working practices in the contemporary job market, and how creating a buzz has become the key to a startup success.
Reinventing Careers in the Digital Age. Dan Lyons, a journalist in his 50s, found himself adrift after losing his job as technology editor at Newsweek. The rise of internet-based tech companies during the 2000s had disrupted the media industry, leading to the decline of traditional publications and the need for experienced professionals like Lyons to pivot their careers. No longer able to rely on print journalism, he chose to dive into the realm of startups, eventually pursuing a role in marketing, signaling the necessity of adaptation and reinvention in an ever-evolving digital world. As the internet technology boom of the 2000s unfolded, companies like Google, Facebook, Zynga, and Groupon began taking center stage. Traditional media outlets, such as newspapers and magazines, struggled to adapt and maintain relevance amidst this paradigm shift. No longer was information exclusively consumed through print. Readers now had the power to access their desired content with just a click, causing publications like Newsweek to experience a drastic decline in both readership and ad revenue. Caught in this unprecedented whirlwind, Dan Lyons became one of the many experienced professionals without a job. His predicament was poignantly highlighted when Newsweek published an article titled, "The Beached White Male," elucidating the plight of seasoned professionals left unemployed due to widespread corporate cutbacks. With a family to support, Lyons knew he had no choice but to proactively adapt and reinvent himself. His first foray into the emerging digital landscape landed him a role at ReadWrite, a tech news website in San Francisco. Though far from ideal, with his family roots planted firmly in Boston, this opportunity provided a glimpse into the thriving startup culture of Silicon Valley. Inspired by this dynamic environment, Lyons pondered the possibility of reimagining himself in the marketing department of one of these innovative ventures, embracing the necessity of transformation in a rapidly changing world. Unraveling Startup Oddities. Newsweek tech writer Lyons had extensive experience with tech giants like Twitter and Facebook, yet in seeking a role at software startup HubSpot, he encountered unfamiliar and puzzling business practices. Despite his initial confusion over the vague job title, marketing fellow, and ambiguous expectations from the founders, Lyons embraced the opportunity to learn new skills and adapt to the unorthodox startup culture, hoping the stock options offered would prove valuable in the long run. Lyons, a seasoned tech writer, knew the inner workings of giants like Twitter and Facebook. Interviewing top CEOs and witnessing lucrative rewards brought to those who joined such companies early on, he was certainly no stranger to the startup world. However, when he secured an interview with HubSpot, a software startup in Cambridge, Massachusetts, Lyons stumbled upon bewildering business practices. Upon responding to a LinkedIn post, Lyons attended his HubSpot interview and aced it. Still, he found himself puzzled by a job offer for an undefined position called Marketing Fellow. His interactions with HubSpot's founders, Shah and Halligan, remained hazy regarding their expectations of his role. They hinted he would help make HubSpot a thought leader in marketing but provided no clear direction on achieving such a goal. The founders' talk of sending Lyons on missions mainly seemed to imply enhancing their blog to boost brand awareness, an equally vague task. Undeterred and willing to adapt, Lyons excitedly accepted the job at HubSpot, ready to explore the unfamiliar world of marketing. Although the position offered a modest salary, the prospect of receiving stock options motivated Lyons. If HubSpot replicated the success of its predecessors like Twitter and Facebook, these options could potentially yield substantial financial rewards. With an open mind and eagerness to learn, Lyons embarked on his journey into the perplexing realm of startup culture. HubSpot's Utopian workplace. Upon joining HubSpot in 2013, Lyons discovered a workplace with an unusual culture, driven by a mission to revolutionize the world with innovative marketing software. Lyons learned that the company had a unique approach to employee relations, treating its staff as a collective team whose work-life balance blurred as work became their life. This mirrored the devotion found in tech giants like Google and Apple, where employees are known for their unyielding belief in the value of their work. HubSpot fostered this commitment by promoting a peculiar lingo, dress code, and set of values based on the acronym HEART: humble, effective, adaptable, remarkable, and transparent. Most notably, HubSpot utilized a distinct language for internal communication, necessitating a wiki page for newcomers to understand the confusing jargon. From Pulitzer Prize to teddy bears. HubSpot's odd workplace practices aimed to inspire teamwork and unity, but left Lyons disoriented. Accustomed to traditional office settings, he struggled to adapt to the open-plan layout and forced, fun atmosphere, complete with a nap room, musical instruments, and game-filled conference room. In contrast to his Pulitzer Prize-winning former boss, Lyons' new employer proudly introduced a teddy bear named Molly into meetings as an innovative representation of the customer. These unorthodox methods contributed to Lyons feeling like a misfit among his colleagues. Battling for creative genius. Just 3 months into his marketing role, Lyons faced disappointment as HubSpot showed little interest in his innovative ideas. Believing his goal was to enhance the company blog, Lyons crafted posts targeting potential investors, such as CEOs and venture capitalists. However, he discovered that his content was meant for fictional personas like Mary the Marketer and small business owners seeking basic marketing tips. Disheartened by the request to dumb down the blog, Lyons proposed creating a separate blog for high-end content called Inbound. Although the idea was well received by the founders, middle management ensured its dismissal. Eventually, Lyons was allowed to curate a sub-blog for sophisticated articles, but at the cost of working in the chaotic telemarketing room dubbed the Spider Monkey Room. The Bozo explosion phenomenon. In his experience at HubSpot, Lyons uncovered the prevalence of dismal management, a phenomenon known as the Bozo explosion. Coined by Steve Jobs, this term explains how underqualified early employees in a startup can rise to managerial positions based on seniority. Consequently, these bozos hire mediocre employees they can feel superior to, perpetuating a cycle of poor management and negatively impacting company culture. At HubSpot, Lyons witnessed firsthand the effects of the Bozo explosion. Promoted bozos not only held leadership positions but also were responsible for creating a toxic work environment. In one instance, Lyons was asked to participate in an overnight hackathon focused on producing subpar blog posts. The impact of the Bozo explosion extended far beyond just the higher-ups within the company. Lyons' time in the telemarketing room introduced him to a group of recent college graduates who were referred to as spider monkeys. Packed into a crowded space, these young employees faced immense pressure to secure sales, or else they'd risk losing their jobs. In an attempt to make the stressful environment more bearable, HubSpot provided them with an unlimited supply of free beer. Despite these conditions, these telemarketers were crucial to the growth and launch of HubSpot's initial public offering, IPO. Ultimately, HubSpot's trajectory of rapid growth reinforced and prioritized Bozo-infested management, leading to a company culture that suffered as a result. Fast expansion was essential for the company's IPO launch, as an impressive growth rate attracted more initial buyers regardless of the actual profits. However, putting growth above all else came at the expense of a healthy internal structure and ethical management practices. Corporate exploitation unmasked. Workers in the high-pressure spider monkey room at HubSpot appeared accepting of their mistreatment, embroiled in a desperate race to fulfill monthly quotas or lose their jobs. The widespread lack of job security was emulated from Google's policies that treat employees as temporary workers with no loyalty. Startups like HubSpot, keen to mirror Google's success, operate without long-term contracts, pension plans, or employee unions. HubSpot marketed unlimited vacation as a perk, but it hid the absence of an actual vacation plan, allowing the company to fire employees without paying for accrued time off. Cost-cutting policies to optimize growth ahead of the IPO encouraged low wages and elimination of pensions, resulting in a poorly paid and insecure workforce. Employees seemed undaunted by these conditions, drawn in by HubSpot's carefully engineered atmosphere fostering camaraderie and a sense of mission, diffusing concerns with distractions like free beer, candy, and games. Crafting buzz for success. The secret to HubSpot's success wasn't necessarily its product, but rather its ability to generate excitement and enthusiasm among employees and investors. The company relied on tried-and-true marketing techniques, like telemarketing and cold calling, to create buzz and portray themselves as revolutionizing the industry with their software. Even their financial losses and weak outlook for profitability were overshadowed by this compelling narrative. As a result, their IPO became a massive success, turning the co-founders into multimillionaires overnight and illustrating the true power of buzz in the business world. Navigating ageism at HubSpot. Lyons' prominent position as Newsweek's former tech editor and his writing work on HBO's Silicon Valley brought significant buzz to HubSpot leading up to their IPO. Despite the ageist attitudes within the company, Lyons managed to stay at HubSpot before eventually parting ways to write for Gawker Media's Valleywag. HubSpot's controversial efforts to spin Lyons' exit and involvement in the attempted theft of his manuscript increased attention on the company and its culture. Lyons, the former tech editor for Newsweek, was instrumental in creating buzz for HubSpot in the lead-up to their IPO. His prominent role caught the attention of various tech blogs, which reported on his move to the company. Additionally, his writing work on the critically acclaimed television series Silicon Valley contributed to HubSpot's intriguing narrative. However, as a 50-something-year-old, Lyons never quite felt at home with the predominantly younger, frat culture-driven HubSpot team, fueled by the company's ageist attitude. One co-founder even publicly announced his preference for hiring younger Gen Yers in a New York Times interview. Lyons shared these remarks on his private Facebook page and received an outpouring of support. It was clear that ageism in the tech industry was a widespread issue. Ultimately, Lyons parted ways with HubSpot when his work on Silicon Valley led to an offer from Gawker Media's Valleywag. Instead of celebrating his success, HubSpot attempted to put a negative spin on his departure by implying he was fired. Moreover, when news of Lyons' book surfaced, a top manager resigned, and another faced termination after an ill-fated attempt at stealing the manuscript called for the FBI Cyber Division's involvement. These incidents only served to keep the spotlight on HubSpot and its problematic work culture.
By the end of Disrupted, My Misadventure in the Startup Bubble, you'll have uncovered the shocking realities of ageism in the tech industry and the cult-like practices of startups like HubSpot. The book is a cautionary tale of how the modern workplace has transformed, prioritizing buzz and growth over employee well-being and stability. Despite facing ageism, lack of direction in his role, and the boom or bust nature of startups, Dan Lyons perseveres and learns vital lessons about the changing job market. Ultimately, the book serves as a gripping exploration of the chasm between traditional industries and the new age of technology-driven businesses, with valuable takeaways for professionals looking to reinvent themselves in today's rapidly changing world.